Welcome. I am here with Joel Ballew, the Chief People Officer at Coventus Space. And Joel, where are you located?
Barranquilla, Colombia, which I'm not from there. I'm not Colombian, but I've lived here for 7 years now. And
I know you're a tall white guy who somehow ended up in Colombia.
yeah, and now I'm probably my kids are more Colombian than I am, but yeah, we're pretty Colombian at this point. We've adapted. Let's just say that.
Okay, so I met you because you joined the startup school, and I remember some of your story. But for our listeners, yeah, tell us how you ended up being a tall white guy in Colombia opening a co-working space. Take us through the journey.
The quick pitch, huh?
Yeah.
It's been a journey for sure. I'm never going to stop saying that. I think no matter how long I'm here. But the reality is, I was born and raised in Atlanta. Worked in employee benefits and college basketball coach. I'm a tall white guy. I played college basketball.
Okay.
I coached college basketball.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. See, I didn't even know that. I mean, we get into things in the startup school on the calls, but
But not like that. That's deep.
no, because then at that point, you're like, I got a co-working space to open up. We're not talking about, my college career. And so,
And juggling like the 55 million things of co-working plus the whole cultural adaptation.
totally. Yeah.
So now, yeah, I played college basketball. My wife played college basketball. We met in college and got married, moved around a little bit, college coaching, and then came back and worked for a family business. I am a fourth, I have to think about it in English. I've said this so many times in Spanish. I have to
Okay.
think about it in English. I'm a fourth generation entrepreneur. So I followed in the footsteps of my great grandpa, dad, and launched that business with him. At the same time, I bought it from him probably about 6 years into it and ran it until we just felt a big call, a kind of big move, big push to go to Colombia or go overseas. We knew that was going to happen. And so within 8 months, we had sold everything we owned, raised enough money to kind of do what we needed to do, went to language school in Costa Rica. I sold my dream business, which was doing really well, which is the dumbest thing in the world. And our dream home. We literally bought our dream home like a year before, not knowing it was going to do this momentum thing. Next thing you know, I'm in Costa Rica learning Spanish. Never spoke a word of Spanish in my life. And now, yeah, you probably wouldn't be able to tell if I was American or Colombian.
Amazing. Wait, and did your wife speak Spanish or was she kind of along?
So she's a dirty little cheater in that aspect. I always joke about it with her. She lived in Brazil with her parents. Her parents are missionaries.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Portuguese and Spanish are very similar.
Yeah.
So, this adjustment has been real easy for her compared
I'm
to
giving her some credit. Portuguese
Yeah.
and Spanish are not exactly the same.
It's like
Okay.
40%. I'll give her that. But I always mess with her. It's like we went to language school and it was the hardest year. I know I'm CEO, very successful company, sold it, felt really good about myself. My ego was impressive. And then you go to like saying the alphabet in Spanish and you come home and like in the fetal position, you want to cry every morning when you wake up because you can't speak English anymore. And, you feel like a 2-year-old. So I get it.
Yeah. It's hard for adults to learn a new language. They say
It is.
I think maybe like by the age of 4 is when kids even lose that like real natural, like comfortable with the accent, that whole thing without yet feeling like, yeah, a total Yahoo.
It's true. Yeah, I'm 34.
Okay.
So
And did you have kids when you moved?
Yeah, so our kids were really young, really young. Our oldest was 10. So
Okay.
she was kind of on the line of, she still struggles the most with Spanish, but you would never know. Like she's
Totally.
leading a camp for 10 to 5-year-old kids this week. She
Okay.
just created an art camp out of the blue. Just wanted to do it.
Ooh,
So
she's going to be the 5th generation of entrepreneurs in the family. Okay.
she will be. Fortunately, I have one at least.
Okay.
And the
Wait,
other two
and
were younger. So
how many kids? 3?
well, 3 daughters. Yeah.
Oh, 3 daughters. Okay.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Wait, how old's the oldest one? I have a 13-year-old and I am also
So
tired.
I'm there, 17, 15, and 13. So
Wow.
yeah. So it's been it's called a unique few years at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm tired.
Okay. So at what point, so you're in a fetal position in Costa Rica learning Spanish. When did the co-working idea come into play? Tell us about
So
that.
it's tough, Jamie. I think for us, we came down and we were working with nonprofits. We were going to work with a lot of churches and some things like that. Definitely a lot of nonprofit work,
Okay.
supporting local call it ministries, nonprofits. And what ended up happening was that process. I realized I'm like, wait a minute, I've got this skill set that I was just going to like throw away completely and go dig wells in the middle of the Colombian jungles, right? And worked with people who needed English and who needed
Yeah.
to learn how to read and write and those kind of things. And some Venezuelan immigrants and refugees that at that point were an influx in Colombia. And I realized it was like, wait a minute, I'm pretty darn good at this whole entrepreneur thing. I've done it for a long time. It's in my blood. Why would I give that up? And we can financially support ourselves instead of asking for money from the United States, which everybody knows is the most awkward and uncomfortable thing on the planet. We decided that we would do something that was self-sustainable, right? We call it doing good while doing well. And so we've stuck to that mantra. And I had a couple of my buddies, you've interviewed a couple of them, Thrive and Fuse, and guys that I had come along the way to know. And gosh, Rome was there. Who else? There's a bunch.
I know Atlanta has so much co-working, and I haven't been to Atlanta in a while. And the like sort of with that overlay of I don't know what's the like service, right? Like and that commitment to something in addition to just
exactly something
the
bigger
work
than ourselves.
piece. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for us. And so it just turned into this thing naturally. And I was like, wait a minute, co-working, it's, low overhead. It's going to be even lower over. And frankly, I didn't notice at the time, but Colombia, Latin America is really the final frontier for co-working outside of maybe Africa. There's just not much co-working going on here.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh my gosh, it's a captive market. And we know some statistics that can prove our point and methodology. And let's go from there. So yeah, during 11 months in language school, about 8 of them were spent trying to figure this bad boy out. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So I always tell people, and I don't remember us having this conversation because you were in the States. And now I do remember you came with this network of, co-working space owner. I was like, oh, you have a good head start. There are some structural differences to like how you, interface with real estate and, things like that outside of the US. So what's different in Colombia?
I would say almost to the degree of day-to-day operations, it's the same.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's completely different, right?
Okay.
It's completely different. I mean, yeah, we get asked to pay bribes almost weekly. Instead of like the electric company comes to shut off our electricity. It's like, wait a minute, why? Well, because you didn't pay this tax. It's like, no, there's no tax. It's just, there's literally no tax. So things like that happen all the time. There's rules that don't exist, but that do exist somewhere. So we get that a lot. The build out was a beast. That almost broke my will.
So how big is the space? I remember all the plans, but what is actual?
It's 1,090 square meters. I think let's call it 12,000 square feet.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's 11,000 something square feet. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're big. I mean, here, just so you know, I'll put it in comparison. Americans just think it's a different world. 12,000 square feet. We, in our city of 1.8 million people, we are now the largest privately held footprint space in the city. WeWork just went out of business, just left the city at the end of the month.
So WeWork there when you were thinking about, okay, interesting.
WeWork was there. I kind of pull that model. I can't remember who did it. It was a long time ago. The business model of where there's a McDonald's or a Starbucks, you can go. I'm the same philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Regis already did it. I know WeWork already did it. It's going to be safe.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't have to do a lot of economic forecasting. Those guys.
Yeah. Just do it. Yeah. Okay. But did they leave? Are they sort of giving up some of their international?
Crazy. They lost a massive client. I mean, they had a client that basically was a call center that filled up their entire space.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They had one corner that was dedicated to WeWork, co-working.
Yep.
Everybody else was in private office.
Single. Okay.
And they left.
Okay.
The only reason I know is they called us a couple of weeks after they left or announced they were leaving and tried to come here, but we didn't have this before. So
yeah, interesting.
They're a 60,000 square foot footprint in Barranquilla or in this city. So they're not small. So we're number one now, which is good and bad, I guess.
So who are your members? What do they do?
Good question. Yeah, it's literally the same. That's where I take operations is kind of the same thing you would expect, right? So our members are startups. We have a lot of businesses that are out of Medellin, Bogota, the big city centers here in Colombia that have satellite offices of 7 people, 4 people. But really, the majority of our people are startups, or they just work remote for an American-based company.
Okay.
A couple call centers. That's a growing segment for us. Frankly, our next space will probably be 80% call centers.
Oh,
just huge wide open spaces because this city is the fastest growing call center city in the country. Because we have the most English speakers in the country.
Okay.
Statistically speaking, which I didn't know when we moved here. That's all new news.
Huh. But
so it's
are most of your members most of your members are Spanish speakers, like use
Yeah,
Spanish at work. Yeah.
I don't speak English or anything. We have a couple people that speak English. They'll come to me and want to talk. That's fun. And like,
Uh-huh.
no joke, right before I jumped on this call, we had an American YouTuber come in from Texas. And I was walking by and he stopped me. He's like, "Are you the guy from?" And I was like, "What? Yeah," in English. And he just visits Barranquilla once every 3 or 4 months. And next thing you know, he just saw me. So we started talking. That happens a lot. A
Okay.
couple American-based firms that, HubSpot's in our office a good bit. A couple
Okay.
companies out of DC, a couple companies out of Texas.
Okay, so you mentioned the YouTuber. Do you have like a content studio or was he just in? Okay.
So I read the Facebook. I keep up with Facebook. I don't comment because I'm not that guy. But I always look at people suffering and like fighting with, do we keep the podcast studio?
Yeah.
We have two.
Okay.
So we have one bigger one that can kind of multi-purpose. It can do podcasting. It can do streaming. It can do normal day-to-day just photo shoots. And we have a smaller space just meant for 2 to 3 people that does a straight up podcast. And we'll take the podcasting equipment out for a 4-person office, but it's built for podcasting, lighting.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we have a lot of success with that.
Yeah.
It's
Why? Tell us why.
built up 3 to 4 weeks because there's nothing like that here in existence.
Interesting.
And you gotta remember, I think I always say it's about Colombia. I don't know if this is bad or good, but we're always about 15 years behind what the US is doing. Right? So influencers are a normal deal where you live. You see them running around everywhere on the street, sorry, that's Spanish, recording video. You see that's normal, right? So for us, that's just becoming a trend now.
Okay.
So now a lot of the younger people have gotten into that. And we see some crazy influencers come through our doors that for me don't mean anything because I don't, I'm not following them. I don't know. But it's cool. It's a cool experience. We've had some great success with that.
Okay. Very interesting. And so do you have to like offer training on the equipment or is it mostly people who know how to do this, like the American YouTuber guy or?
No, literal. We go walk them up to the space or walk them down. There's we get 2 floors. And we walk them up, we plug them in, and we do that. That's all we do. I mean, literally, and we walk away.
Yeah.
We have people who just want the space. They bring their own equipment and their own photographers and their own videographers. We're like, great, fine, no problem whatsoever. So it works out really well for us. It's pretty cool.
Okay, so there was a WeWork, and it sounds like there was a Regis locally
There's
as well.
Now 3. They have 3 locations.
Okay,
But
interesting.
they're significantly smaller than us. In terms of one, if you put them all together, they're bigger than us at this point.
Huh.
But their floor plans are not massive.
Yeah.
And they're in
Okay, but so
commercial
if you
buildings.
want to expand, will you do like it sounds like it's difficult to find this floor plate. Well, and tell us a little bit about the real estate structure. Like, did you sign a lease? How many years? Like, yeah.
So I'm jumping off this podcast to go on a call with our landlords because they want to take this building over because of all the investment I put into it. So that's the kind of fun stuff I get to deal with. But it's honestly, that's probably the biggest hurdle we go through on an any-day basis. Because here, it's triple net to the max. You rent a space, it is your problem.
Okay.
So if the tube breaks of whatever water, what is that Spanish? Like the sewer system, anything breaks in our building, including the roof, it's our problem. So there is no like support whatsoever for us.
Wow.
So the maintenance costs are significant. And couple that with negotiating here is like an Olympic sport.
Right.
It gets hairy here. Like you don't even want to know how long this took to find it. So we have a parking lot, just to compare for Americans. We have a parking lot with 32 spaces, 2 handicap spots. And that WeWork had their space equal 20. And you had to pay about $80 a month to do it. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot to you all, but that's a lot of money for here, not including your membership.
Yeah.
So us having a free parking lot is, again, everybody thinks that's crazy, but for us, that's a wild deal.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And big buildings don't exist here, frankly.
Yeah.
That's just kind of something we've suffered through for a long time, but you live with it, you deal with it. And so 10,000 square feet here is fascinating. We get really excited when we see 10,000 square feet.
But that was always going to be your model, right? Like you felt like that was the right floor plate. And okay, so yeah, what would you do to expand? What would that look like?
So next space will be very similar. We're heavy private office. So we kind of look like Lucid a little bit.
Yeah.
Went a little bit more co-working than a Lucid would. Luke Wills and I are good friends, and
Oh, nice.
talked
I
this
haven't had
morning.
Luke on in a while. I
Oh
gotta,
man,
that
he's
guy
been
is
making it.
so busy, but
He's
yeah,
almost an influencer for co-working at this point. Like
totally. Yeah.
just embrace the topic and call it a day, right? But I think what inevitably we end up doing is what is normal in the US is now very popular here. So, right, third generation co-working space here doesn't exist. So having a podcasting, so we have private showers in our bathrooms because it's very hot in Barranquilla. It averages about 94 degrees here year round, 100% humidity. And you ranged, to 110 degrees. So it's coastal and it's hot. So we have those kind of things. We do free food and free snacks every day. We do free drinks. That does not exist. We have a cafe in our space. Doesn't exist. So we're already ahead of the ball game in terms of that. So really, it's just we do things that no one does. Like again, in the U.S., it's very simple. Jamie, you offer hour passes, you offer half day, full day, right? Here, it's either monthly or you buy a package of hours. And so we're killing it. We have better success in day passes than we do co-working right now. We make more money off day and half day passes for
Interesting.
private offices and co-working than we do
Okay.
for
Huh.
literally for co-working.
Wow.
It's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been, private offices for us are again bread and butter,
Yep.
and we're super excited about it. We have it's more of we try to keep it more modern, and we don't have roofs on our office spaces.
Wait, I saw that in
you see it
the.
right behind me. So it's like there's a light right behind me.
So
That's
how
we do
does
it.
that? Obviously, it sounds like it works. Is
Yeah.
that a cultural thing? Is that because people think about doing that here and it doesn't? I know this is really dense. Wait, and how big are your offices?
It depends. So we'll go up to, and here's the other thing. There's two cultural aspects to this, right? Colombians, Barranquilleros, where I live, the people who live in Barranquilla, traditionally on a whole, Jamie, tighter spaces are okay, right? So
Yeah.
this would be, technically what I'm in right now is a 2-person office. The backside would be another desk.
Yep.
I've seen 3 people in these, and we charge based off the office. So if you fit 4 people in here, we don't care. We
Go
just
for
say,
it.
here's the price.
Yep. Okay.
And so it is unique. Our offices are a lot smaller than what you would see in the US. But our 3-person office is probably a normal 1-person office in the United States in terms of square footage.
Yeah.
But it's going great. Like having it open has been fantastic. For us, it's an air conditioning topic
Yep.
because air conditioning is king here. So
Yeah.
without that, we don't want to have to run ducts everywhere. It would look hideous from our mezzanine level, and design is a big deal for me. So
And then culturally, this lack of sound privacy, is that also just, is that a cultural fit? Like, because here, if people go no top, I'm like, okay, that's
it's funny. Americans have loved it. That have come down here. They've fallen
Yeah.
in love with our space. That's
Mm.
one of our niche markets, which I never thought it would be. But the reality for me is it stresses me out every day. I have 3 or 4 things that I wake up in the morning freaking out about. And who's going to complain about the sound or the echo?
Yeah.
Because it's, we're 30 feet, our ceiling's 30 feet off the ground.
Oh,
And there's nothing blocking that bad boy. The sound just travels.
interesting. Yep.
So, we've talked to engineers, we've talked to everything, soundproofing experts. We have some of that in our space.
Yeah.
We have a lot of plants, a lot of fake plants, a lot of real plants.
Yeah.
We have
To
a lot
absorb.
of paintings just
Yep.
to take sound.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of it myself. It's been fun for those co-working people who do it on their own. I've learned a lot of things in 8 months. I'll tell you.
So when you expand, will you do no tops again?
It
Or
depends
does
on the space. I don't
Okay.
think we're ever going to get a space like this again. Like, this
Yeah.
is super. If you look at it, it was a bowling alley, just so you know, like literally a bowling alley.
Okay.
So the roof was incredibly high. And it has a mezzanine that you can look over and watch the bowling, where it was, with a couple
Okay.
of like rooms and commercial kitchen that we obviously converted. So it's just different. I don't think we'll get another space like this.
Okay.
I'm hopeful we can get a space like this in terms of parking, but then we get a lower ceiling. Because again,
Yeah.
I'm as American as they come. And even
Yeah.
for me, I want
Give me a drop ceiling. Give me let's do some.
literally. I'm desperate for a drop ceiling, which is hilarious. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Interesting. But you're optimistic that you'll find another 10 to 12,000 square feet?
This city's growing so fast. I think once we expand outside the city, the target is kind of go 3 spaces in each
Okay.
secondary city in the country, and then out from there. And frankly, I think we're okay here. I don't have a problem with anything on the coast of Colombia. What I'm worried about is when we go south from the interior of the country,
Okay.
because it's more city there. This is really kind of a stretched out city.
Yep.
Has a very Atlanta feel to it. And in the south or the interior, it's very much, you're landlocked, mountains
Okay.
surround you. So there's not a ton of big spaces.
Yeah.
So yeah, because we've been in talks with somebody in Medellin, outside of Medellin, to come and take over theirs. And we would just kind of do a agreement with them. And we just can't find a space that's going to come close. And financially in Colombia, think about this. This is what I always tell people. 75-ish% of the city I live in, of 1.8 million people, couldn't pay a membership for co-working, even a virtual office membership. So
Okay.
we incredibly limit who we can reach out to.
Yep.
So I've got to be able, A, to make it accessible for those who can. And part two is you got to make it big enough to have enough bodies in the space.
Yeah.
We've got to have 100-something bodies in the space almost every day
To make it work.
Yeah, exactly right.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
who's buying the day passes? Where does that demand come from?
A lot of software folks, a lot of coding folks, a lot of satellite office workers. Like my office is in Dallas, and I'm the one Colombian worker, and I'm tired of working from home, so they pay them.
Yeah.
They pay for them. It's literally, so you put it in perspective, it's $10, like $11 is the translation money
For the day pass.
for the day.
Yeah.
Pass. So yeah, we're significantly cheaper than anything anybody's used to on your side of the fence for sure.
Yep. But you can make the business model work.
100%.
I'm sure there will be things you'll do differently with the next location, as
100%.
everyone would, but you're confident like the model works and there's enough of a segment in each of those cities that can support
100%. And our marketing, I think here, right, SEO is common practice for you all.
Yeah.
Right. For us, it's not. So we end up running into these situations where we're literally, we're third ranked behind, I think it's I just got it. Yeah, I just looked at it. It was 2 co-working spaces, the biggest local provider and Regis. We're number 3 on any Google search for any co-working in the city, co-working in general.
Nice.
We're number 3 or 2, depends on the search. So
okay.
We invest heavily in that to begin with.
Yeah.
And again, customer service is normal for you guys. For us, customer service is driven community. And community doesn't exist here in co-working, really true. I mean, my competitors are great. I'm never going to make fun of them.
Yep.
I never talk badly about them, but it's just more of it's a place. It's an interaction. You come in, you say hello, you sit down, you work. Well, we do a lot of events, the traditional European American model.
Yeah.
But that's based off of our service model, and it works. It's working. So yeah.
So interesting. I was just going to ask you something, and now, I noticed that you're on, and the volume of day pass makes sense. You're on FlexSpace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They reached out about 6 months ago. We're the opposite of what FlexSpace wants, which is hilarious, but it's been really cool for us to get connected with them because nobody buys anything online here. It's all through WhatsApp.
Okay. I was going to say,
WhatsApp.
Okay, interesting.
So I think we have 3 aggregators. I probably get 7 to 10% of our business, maybe on a good month, from the 3 aggregators. One of them is Gable, which has been really good because of HubSpot, some other big time players.
Okay, interesting.
And FlexSpace comes directly to the website, so I count them as an aggregator.
Yep. Okay.
And then Instant Office. You rarely get anything from them, so it's been unique.
Wait, so what does the transaction look like on WhatsApp?
And we're talking from start to finish, Jamie. It's insane. Like never in a million
years.
Yes,
that's why I'm asking. I was like, okay, wow. I mean,
we're talking reach out. I mean, most of our contacts are inbound. We don't take a ton of outbound.
Okay.
And we average about, I just did the marketing dashboard. We average about 150, 120 new contacts a month. Wow. And 60 to 70 of them, 80 of them are through either WhatsApp or Instagram. It's insane.
Wow.
And we close most of them what most people never see in the space. So it's a weird thing. That was odd to me.
They haven't seen the space. They don't buy online, but they also don't necessarily need to come in.
They won't buy online. They'll search all day online, right? So I think that's the dichotomy, right? We have to be careful with that because they do. They search.
Okay.
And they'll find you out because we have TikTok. We have it all, right? We have to. We've got to have the presence be there.
Yeah.
But it's not anything, right? The startup school prepped me for one thing, and I had to take the 180 to figure out what I was doing because it was shocking. And then for me, it was intense because I didn't have a community manager for about 3 months. And this guy, the guy I have now, his name is Miguel, and he's a hero. He's fantastic. He's killing it for us. Good. Here, it's very much, we only do one thing, right? So I do community management. I talk to the people. I'm not going to do sales.
Yep.
So I had to hire him as a sales guy, and I now converted him into a community
Okay.
manager to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I was scared to death because I was taking 20, 40 calls a day. And again, I speak Spanish, but with an accent, obviously.
Yep.
And so it was like, please don't call me. Please don't want to have any more meetings. Don't make me do another tour. She's saying, oh my gosh. And at that point, it was, 10 tours a day because we were new. So
Wow.
it was wild.
Right. But that's a huge volume of leads.
It is. Now, again, I will say this. We do two things that are maybe a little different than I think than other co-working, and I'm honest about who we are and what we are. Besides the community aspect where we really do a lot of high touch, a lot of going the extra mile, I always say. It's a battle for eyes, is what we say in Spanish. We say that literally every day to my team. It's a battle for eyeballs. And we do outbound. We're probably more of a sales organization than we are a co-working space. And so I work in sales. I worked in sales.
Okay.
And so did Miguel. And so when we do outbound almost as much as we do inbound. So, and we answer within 10 minutes. That's a rule for us. If somebody hits our phone on any shape or form.
Yep.
So that's why. I mean, and Instagram's been really good for us. Google ads have been really good for us. So, and it's really cheap comparatively speaking. So that's why.
Because of the market you're in. That's so interesting. But I am noticing on your website, like the chat is the WhatsApp icon. Yep. Yeah.
I guarantee if you reach out right now, he will answer it like within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
although I did hear a stat, I listened to a guy who helps gym owners because I think the models like have overlap.
Very similar. Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense. I think they had said, like, if you don't respond to a lead within, this short amount of time, less than an hour, like people are in the mode to like find a solution and get it taken care of. If you wait, because gym owners, not great marketers, like they're trainers, right? So they were saying like a lot of gyms don't respond to leads for like a week. Which is like also not, typical in our industry, but our industry, I don't think most operators are down to the 10 minutes. I mean,
and the problem is most owners here, I get it. I'm one of them. I got lucky because I love sales, but most owners don't like to do outbound. I mean, sales to them is a dirty word.
Yeah.
And, most of them want to do the community aspect.
Or they start equipped. I think lots of owners are interested, but they don't have any background and don't know. So when you say outbound, what does that look like? With you don't have to share any secrets, but just generally.
Secrets to have. I mean, we don't care. At this point, look how many people shared it with me from the start to the finish.
Yeah.
So I'm always an open book when it comes to this. We were real successful in LinkedIn has been really big for us.
Yeah.
Because not only our followers, but just contacts that we've made throughout the years. A lot of it is we literally go door to door. We'll do it. We'll do so again, marketing here in Colombia is a little different. We'll literally put like the little mini flyers. We'll put those on people's windows in really nice malls in the city because one part of the city is really nice and we know that. So we go to those areas and we focus. And that's been very successful for us. We do a lot of free events for either foundations, nonprofits. We had a classical music event for the foundation that's big here. And we probably had 600 people in the space throughout, from 5 to 10 o'clock at night, which we can't fit, but we did it anyway. And that worked out really well for us. We had a car show and a classic car show, which is not a normal thing. So we do a lot of that for free or just for the list.
Yeah. So it's a marketing activity for you. Yeah.
We build up a massive list.
But you leverage it intentionally as a way to get leads. You're not just like, well, hopefully they show up and they somehow connect the dots. Like you have a funnel related to those.
My community manager has a requirement per week how many outbound sales calls he makes.
Okay.
And how many responses how many outbound WhatsApp calls he makes or WhatsApp messages he does and emails. So I have all those requirements. I have requirements for myself. So, yeah.
And so when you do this, are you introducing people to the concept of what you offer? Like, is it educational or
so it's funny. I laugh because we just had a meeting about this. I think we're starting to not tap out the market of who knows what co-working is. There's still a ton of people obviously working in a city that know what co-working is.
Yeah.
Either haven't found us or can't afford us or whatever it is. So now we're going to the market of, look, if you have a satellite office in our city and you're from both the 3 big cities, come to us. We'll help walk you through what that looks like. They don't have to work from home. So now we're changing our marketing strategy to kind of educate more than, hey, here's a space and now we're saying private offices for rent, which I would never have said that in the US in a million years. And we say we have events because we have an event space. We have 4 or 5 event spaces. So we now talk about event spaces, and that's probably been one of the bigger, faster growing verticals for us in the last 6 months, 8 months.
Interesting.
So we have a 5, 6 events per week during the day, whether it's, somebody coming in and selling something to somebody, or somebody sharing something about, whatever is multi-level marketing, whatever you want to call it. There's a
Yeah.
million different things that we do, real estate
Wow.
firms, all that kind of thing. So
Okay. Very cool. And the startups that are there, are they funded startups or are they like bootstrappy startups? And are they like
there's
tech
not a lot of funding here in
startups?
Colombia. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my goal. Honestly, I said this. I know I have made it when I can start. We want to create a little venture capital firm here off of the profitability of
Yeah.
us, so we can pour back into those.
You can invest in the people who
Because
have, the
it's all
ideas and the,
bootstrap, and they have no money. And so it's really hard. That's, I feel for them because that's where my heart is. I love coaching those kids
Yep.
and their kids. Because remember, they graduate here at 17 years old. So they're out of college by like 19, 20 sometimes. So
Okay.
they're young.
Yep.
And so, they don't have a ton of experience. Mom and dad worked hard for them. And now they got to kind of figure this whole thing out on their own. And I've done it here. I've done it in the US. So that's a huge part of what I love to do, and sharing the community. But again, it takes money to do that. There's just not a lot of money here.
Yeah. I mean, which must feel even more like a contribution because you're creating a place where these people who are trying to make something work, like there's not the ecosystem for that is not common, it sounds like. So these are brave souls who are, trying to do something, and you have a place. Do you do, you may not have time for this, but like mentorship and
Yeah,
yeah,
I do it all at this point. I don't have a lot of time for a lot of things, but I still do. No, I enjoy that aspect. I just truly do. We've built something here that I didn't think we were going to be heavy. I'm not a big community guy, but it ended up, because of what I told you, our service model was just so
yeah,
high. It
yeah,
ended up being that. Now we're buddies with everybody in our space. And again, it wasn't something I tried to do. And so inevitably, I've enjoyed just getting to know people, especially these
yeah,
young kids who come in kind of star-eyed and
yeah,
shocked and don't know what to do. So
yeah.
I've loved doing that. I do the events now. Like, I love going up and setting up events and
Okay.
liaisoning events. It's just fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Does your wife spend time in the space?
She does. She does. We can't work together. That's a rule we live by. So like, she manages the
Good to know the boundaries
Yeah,
and what,
we just
you know.
don't do that. But the coffee shop is a third party, so she just manages the relationship,
Okay.
and she does it all because they like her a lot more than like me, which is fine. I'm okay with that. She'll sit in reception with me every
Know
once
your
in a while.
strengths.
Yeah, no, exactly. So she'll work here sometimes because she's getting her master's degree, and I can't remember what it is now. Teaching English as a second language is like a subset of
Wow.
that. So
Okay.
she's going through that. So she works out of here sometimes. But yeah, that's our kids work out of it sometimes just to do events and stuff for us, which is
Yeah.
fun. That's the aspect I never thought I'd like. But working with my dad for so long, that was pivotal years of my life. And so them getting to see me in that world, I hope, is a big deal to them. So,
Yeah. Wait, tell me about the coffee shop. You have a coffee shop in the space. It's run by
Yeah. It's a third party. They have, 1, 2, 4, 5 or 6. I'm going to get it wrong. I don't know. I think it's 5 spaces throughout the country, one in the far south, and then the rest here in the city. And they've done really well. They're not great marketers. I'm always honest about that with them. Like, we sit down once a month to evaluate the relationship. And I say, guys, look, just market, just like do something. Take my marketing person, do a couple hours a week, please. Because they could kill it. And they just rely on foot traffic because they're in malls. Well, this was a special deal with us.
Yep.
And they just pay a percentage of sales, which I love. I don't want to charge them. I don't even care if I make money. Really, I just want to cover my bills with them. And this, I think you've had enough of these conversations over the last 2-3 years. F&B is the way, I would say the way co-working's going, but to integrate them is just so pivotal.
100%. And that's why I ask. I just interviewed another woman who had pretty significant food and beverage, and a lot of operators just aren't comfortable. Because I mean,
It's crazy.
We're listening to you talk about you're just learning the business model and dealing with just what's in the box of workspace, and then to add on, you mentioned events and food and beverage. That's a lot, especially for somebody who's new. And I can't remember, was part of your vision that there would be a coffee shop, or did that come?
It was a hope that we would run it.
Okay.
I realized very quickly that we were not equipped. And frankly, I think that might have killed me. This in terms of stress and
Yeah.
anxiety.
That
Like
would
I
have
don't
thrown you
have
over the
a
edge.
segment. It took me 4 years to learn co-working. I tell people this. They're always like, why did it take you so long? Co-working is easy. I sat in every co-working space that existed in this city and worked for 6 months and
Wow.
worked on this model
Yeah.
because I wanted to know. It was more market research than I needed to do, but I don't
Yeah.
care. I was
Really
very
get it
comfortable
right.
walking into this. But I'm not going to do that for F&B. I'm just not. Food and beverage, it would take me years. And I can hire a third party and trust
Yeah.
them to do it. And we have a very loose contract, meaning we evaluate it every 3 months.
Yep.
So if we're not comfortable with you and you're not comfortable with us, vice versa, doesn't matter which way it is, you're out. And no one's going to argue. And the build out's your problem, but we already have kind of a built out space that I paid for. So
Mm-hmm.
it makes the bar is it's low.
Okay, so what's the coffee drink of choice?
So they do. I know this is for Americans. This is going to be painful. I get it. Our coffee provider is actually better than theirs, from what I've heard. Long story, but they use Nespresso. Like it's basically a Keurig, but like
Totally. Yes.
yeah. So the Americans are not big fans of it. I've gotten
No, I
everyone
find
come
it
in our space.
fascinating. Well, I'm an
Okay.
espresso user at home
Okay, it makes me feel a
because,
little better.
and I always say, like, I think I'm just not like enough of a connoisseur to care that it comes out of a pod. And the foamer foams my almond milk,
Yep, same thing we have.
and it makes
Same
me
thing.
so happy.
We
And
have
I
the
know
commercial
they have
version.
you know what? I think it was when I was in Rome, I went into a gym there and they had like the commercial Nespresso machine. And I was like, well, that's brilliant. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're not brewing.
So they're not like they do
Yeah.
a lot. They're more branched out. So I would say I'm trying to think of sorry, all of these words are Spanish for me. I don't even think about it. They make milkshakes, they make smoothies.
Okay.
They,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
they do more of that all encompassing.
Perfect.
They have
Yeah.
torts, they have
But you
cakes.
cover more day parts. You kind of get,
Oh
yeah.
man, if they could just get their prices down, they're very artisanal in their
Okay.
approach, and they are very expensive. Which
Okay.
again, at the end of the day, is fine for us. We don't care.
Yeah.
We just wanted to sell. If I had to do it over again, I'd probably bring a chain in, and they know this. I said it to them. I said, like, look, if you could just drop the prices 30%, we'd be selling so much.
Get the volume. Yep.
Because we had a restaurant beside us, and they went out of business because we took the parking in our contract. We had the parking lot, so they just never got foot traffic.
Yep.
And so we thought about moving them into that space so that we can obviously designate more co-working. But anyway,
Yep.
so yeah, I think we can be real successful with it. And I want to grow more into a lunch event coordination kind of thing where you can do food for them on an easier scale. I think that's the wave of the future for us. Outside of AI, I think that's our future.
Okay, so yeah, what you said before we hit record, you have 4 screens and ChatGPT lives on one of them. What are you doing with AI in the business?
So I think
Besides translating, but that's fair.
translating
That's
is
a
the
big
best
one.
thing
Yeah.
on the planet. Like I said, anybody who doesn't do that's crazy. It's really good translation. Trust me. What we end up using it a lot for is obviously we're too small to have a CMO, a CFO, a COO. So we've built through
The C's are not on the team yet.
No, we're not going to do that until we have like 7-5 spaces somewhere in there. 6,
Yeah.
who knows? We'll see where it's financially viable because those here cost a lot of money. My salaries, Jamie, just to put in perspective, are probably sixth. My salary per month for everybody that we have double the employees in normal co-working space has, probably cost what half of a person does in the United States.
Okay.
So that's security, cleaning, the whole nine. We have
Wow.
24 hours. We have 16-hour cleaning.
Wow.
But anyway, so we financially, they're very costly. The C-suite is incredibly expensive here. So, and I don't make a salary. So my intention is I'm not going to have somebody make a crap ton more than I do. Thank you.
Right.
So we ended up basically funneling those models to AI. And it's been uber successful. We had to build those out. They were obviously large language models we had to build. And, I have buddies in that space. So they helped me a little bit, but really you can do it on your own. Took time. And next thing you know, today, I just finished the dashboard last night at about 7:30 for all of our marketing stuff. And it spit out all the reports it spits it out every quarter for me and every month. So I know, all click through stuff. It's all attached to Google Ads, analytics. It's attached to Meta. It's attached to everything. So we've been able to build that out. We're doing it for financials. We're doing it for marketing, you name it, operations. Operations less because there's not a lot to do
Yep.
here. So, and we have our accountants feed right into it. Literally, I sit down once a month, hit the buttons for everybody on all these models, and then they
Yep.
spit reports out to me, and I sit down and I'll talk with ChatGPT about
As
what do you
if you're
think we're
meeting
doing
with
wrong?
your CFO.
Exactly.
I love
Obviously, I
it.
run that through other people because there is a limitation there.
Yep.
But and obviously, I've done business for a while, so I know some
Mhm.
things.
Right,
So it's
right,
not
right.
like
You have
I'm
to have the
worried about.
context. You have to know what to ask. You have to,
Yeah, I
you
wouldn't say if you're 12, you're 20, just coming out of college, I probably think that might not be a great idea.
know.
But for somebody who's a little bit more seasoned in the business world, I think, but doesn't want to have to learn everything. I don't have a master's. I don't have an MBA. I'm not that smart. So I try to keep it easy on it. Just, use ChatGPT. It's great.
I love it. Are you running your own ads or do you outsource?
We run them all right now, and we are changing that up. As a matter of fact, as of last Thursday.
Okay.
We're not doing it right. The keywords, I know enough to be dangerous. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's my biggest piece of advice. Farm it out, farm everything you can out, because we're learning it's so much more successful. What I've said, Jamie, to a lot of people is use people in Colombia, like use people in
Yeah.
Mexico,
Okay.
use people in
Mhm.
Latin America, because they are very cheap and they work very well, and their English is fine. It's like,
Yep.
it's still worse than any other second language speaker in the world. It's great. So
Yep.
yeah, we're very happy with our relationships here.
Good. I love it. Okay. So what year did you open?
We are nine months old at this point. So we're 20.
Okay. You're still a baby.
Yeah, our build out
Wow.
took, we're technically over a year old now at this point, but build out took 6 months. It was supposed to take 3. So it
Right.
ended up, at this point, we're over a year, but I only count when we've been in the space. Just it makes,
Yeah.
every month is tough. We all know how that works.
Do you
So
think the next location will take 6 months too? Is that just like sort of
no,
part of the
I learned all my
Okay.
lessons. I learned
Okay.
all my lessons. I'm sure we'll make mistakes again, and now I have a good team around me. I didn't have a great team around me at that point.
You're building it, right?
Yeah.
Sort of
So
while you
now I have
were
4 or 5 people that can manage this process for me.
Yeah.
And I'm
Okay.
very excited about those folks. So they're
Okay.
very good people. So I'm happy.
Okay, good. So what will you do differently in the next location?
Yeah, it's a good question. Not going to do private showers, I'll tell you that. We're probably going to lower co-working and go more events
Oh,
and
interesting.
conference rooms. Conference rooms are huge here.
Okay.
Because you got to remember smaller office sizes. So a lot of
Yep.
people sacrifice the
Big.
conference room for
Mm,
up like 3-person office.
yep.
So I've got this ton of ability now that we rent to the biggest company, the biggest publicly traded company in the city, because they need a space. They don't have a ton of code.
They don't have it in their own. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Great.
mean, they have it. Obviously, they're a huge company, but they still use it for some of their satellite folks or
Yep.
sales folks. That happens to us a lot. So I'm probably going to grow more into that. And the next space, we're going to try the gym. We're going to try it and see what happens. Small time CrossFit model.
Ooh.
Like,
Okay.
but what we do is we bring in experts, right? So we bring in an expert in coffee. We bring in an expert in, whatever it is, CrossFit, whatever
Yeah.
it is, jujitsu. I don't care. We build the space and they will come, right? The old Field of Dreams deal. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm most excited about that.
Okay. 9 months. You're still just wow. Okay.
We're cranking. We're cranking.
Totally.
I've been shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, to this day, we're still doing 1.5, 1.42 tours a day. So we're averaging.
I
8 to
mean,
10
that's
tours a week.
incredible lead volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't play around. Our close ratio is still low. I'm
Okay.
never going to be happy with close ratio until it hits 30. And I think we
Yep.
just hit 19 or 20 the other day. This last month in May.
Yeah, but it's an interesting, I mean, because your funnel is just wide open. You're not
It's disgusting.
filtering. You're just like anybody who will walk in the door, you're
Yep.
talking to them. And that
Yeah,
maybe,
and it happens. We have a ton of walk-ins. And
Yep.
we probably have 5 to 6 walk-ins a week.
yeah.
They just want to know what this thing
So
is.
your close rate is going to be lower. I did a
Super low.
panel at, you were, what conference were you? I did a panel with Flip from Lucid and Kane Wilmot from IQ Offices. And it was so good. We were talking about, KPIs, and I think it was Flip who's like, yeah, we'll take, we just want people in the door. And Kane was more of the like, no, we like to filter people out. We don't want to do a tour unless they're qualified.
Really?
Like 2 totally different approaches.
Yeah.
Right. And it depends on, maybe who your customer segment is and just, kind of how you want to manage it. But your close rate's going to look very different if you pre-qualified people, then it's going to be higher. So
It is. And we're still,
yeah.
it's culturally driven as well, right? So what I would do here in terms of sales, I would not do in the South or in the
Okay.
interior of the country.
Mm.
We're a little more brazen here because we can
Yep.
get away with it. In the South, it's a little bit more American in their kind of feelings. So I got to be careful with that. You don't want to be too outbound and too aggressive. People are
Yeah.
going to be a lot more aggressive.
Okay.
So there's things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And inevitably, if we could get to 30, if we got to close to 30, this space would be filled totally fast. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing great with 18, 19 at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Good for you. I mean, it sounds like you're just, learning you're on the fast track.
If they'll drink it from a fire hose.
Totally.
Unfortunately, I think I told you this when we talked during startup group.
Yeah.
I inevitably love the concept of A/B testing. So we'll change furniture on a day-to-day basis. Like, I don't like that couch there. Let's move it over there. We'll paint rooms because it doesn't cost much here. Like, we just tore down, literally on Saturday, we just tore down a wall for two-person offices, made it a 4-person office.
Oh, wow.
We're noticing that's the trend is 3 to 5-person office.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. No, 1-person offices have been a complete bomb, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
They only do day passes. So I was injuring myself. If you look at our floor plan, the original floor plan to today, it was almost all 2 and 1-person offices.
Well, for sure. Because if you can do that in the US, you're good to go.
You're going to kill it.
Yeah.
But here, I thought that was the same because we worked sold out with one or 2-person. Here, it's been all 4 to 5 to 6.
Okay.
With 3s, all in that range. So it's been really different.
Okay. And when people come in to do day passes, are they doing it in an office or are they doing it in an open?
It's 60-40-ish. So I'd say 65-35.
Okay.
They're doing private offices, and that's good money for us. We would rather, I say this all the time, Jamie, we would rather sell all day passes, fill up our offices every day.
The variable price is higher.
Triple the money.
Yeah. And you have the demand for it.
And we could. I know it's just not sustainable. It's not a sustainable model for us.
Yeah.
And, for my stress levels, it's not a sustainable model. So
variable. Yeah.
I'd rather have that monthly membership and keep that going. But at the end of the day, I'm very happy. We're pushing hard virtual now. You got your email, got me going on that front.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So, and finally my staff realized how much money we could be making.
Yep.
With no work.
Yeah.
Again, a very small.
Cool.
We do work, so we're in the process.
So back to the sort of flow of how people transact. So you use DeskWorks. So are people ultimately paying on that platform? No. Okay. Yeah.
So, that's and DeskWorks, if they're listening, will literally hide in shame because we've had this conversation about 60 times. Here, it's very hard to do recurring payments. So we literally run
legally, or
some of it's most payment providers don't want to do it. We don't have your guys' payment providers. We don't have Stripe. They're not in Colombia. We don't have PayPal. We don't have a lot of the players.
Oh no!
So the local players don't do it, and so we've never really gotten a great answer. Some have said it's legally we can't.
Okay.
But then I pay for my internet monthly at my house.
Right, and it recurs. You're like, yeah.
So it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's just a case of I don't want to do it kind of deal. So we literally run it manually every month, but we're in negotiations with DeskWorks at this point. They've got somebody connected to them. So we're hoping that can play itself out because they work in Colombia, which is a big deal. So
okay.
The problem for us is, and we're going to be outside of the country. We're a US based company, but we are headquartered in Colombia.
Right.
And so we have to follow both guidelines. So it's great. We have an American client. They pay us in America.
Yeah.
So my American bank account that pings every month with their membership. But the rest are coming out of here. And some people, we don't take cash anymore. We decided early on because of crime and things.
Yeah.
We can't do that. But we literally, to this point, we'll have somebody come in and scan a QR code and pay us with their debit card, that kind of thing from their bank account. Most things are bank transfers here.
Huh.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a different one.
Yeah.
So a lot of bank transfers. We only do about 30% transactions in credit cards, debit cards.
Okay.
So it's wild. I was hoping that would be 100% what we did. But frankly, for us, we waive all fees. It's basically an ACH. There's no fees.
Totally. Right. So that is nice. But I'm sitting here thinking you're really brave. I mean, this is Wild.
Well,
It's just
like I
different.
said,
It's
you
just
just get
different.
different. You get
And
over it, right?
yeah,
You get frustrated. Like when I talk to you and I talk to people in the US and they're bragging about whatever and I want to punch them.
right.
I desperately want that, but
Right.
it's not going to happen. So let's find a workaround. Right?
Yeah.
Like I built that website out to take online purchases. We've had 3 online purchases in 9 months.
Yeah. Okay, but
Uh,
maybe in 15 years you'll be ready to roll. Yeah.
that's the hope.
When
That the hope. One of the younger generations coming along with buying online. So
yeah.
Amazon's popular here now. Mercado Libre
Okay.
is a big name.
Okay.
Alibaba's big here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Temu is a big deal, obviously. So they're getting
Getting
there,
getting there. Yeah.
and they'll be business owners one day. So
Right, exactly.
it's not today, unfortunately.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to do this again in a couple of years and see, yeah, how things have changed. But congrats. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
You
you
have
saw
this
it from when I was a baby, so that's pretty cool.
totally.
Yeah,
Totally. Except, yes, we are not helpful in terms of helping you anticipate. Like, no, everybody uses WhatsApp and doesn't,
yeah.
right? There are no recurring payments here.
No, I literally thought I was like, just have me be one of your modules for the Latin congregants.
Totally.
The folks that want to do it in Latin America. It's
Yeah.
because it's different for sure.
Right. And I mean, it's a good thing you have a bigger why because that probably keeps you going sometimes.
It does. Yeah, I think there are days where, when somebody comes in asking for something they shouldn't be asking for, and you just want to, you want to do some things that are not pretty.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what keeps me going. So I'll take it.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your journey with us, Joel.
It's been awesome. We haven't talked in so long. It's been great.
I know. I know. I was excited to do this and I feel excited and
Thoughts.
yeah, and also again feel like yeah, you're really brave and
Thank
really
you.
adventurous and you're sitting here with a big smile on your face and
Right now, give me about 30 minutes now.
okay, totally. And then the next challenge will come through and yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's been a challenge, but it's like one of those most rewarding things you do in your life kind of thing.
Oh,
Yeah, 100% worth it.
good. Okay, I'm glad you feel that way. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll have to do this again and catch up and
Love
see
it.
where things take you in the next couple of
Absolutely.
years.
Let's
Thanks,
do it.
Joel.
Thank you.